Alright, it is almost Christmas, and with just a few days left until the actual big day, I thought it was a good time to go over some of the big motion backgrounds that we have been posting recently. Got my heater on over here, I'm up in the attic, it's 27 degrees, and it is freezing, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. If you check out the website, motionbolt.com, what you'll find on the homepage is tons of cool motion backgrounds with Christmas-related themes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over a couple of the ones that I recently posted about a week ago, including one that's doing really well. I posted it last night called Falling for Christmas. So let's go ahead and dive into a couple of those things right now. Alright, so the first background we'll take a look at today is Welcome to Christmas. And this was shot in the garage, and you can take a look at these pictures here and see how I did that using just a couple key lights. I went ahead and took those images, brought them into After Effects here, added an adjustment layer for some color there, added some particles for just some snow. I did have a fake layer of snow down at the bottom there, and then added this little light burst here, which kind of fades in and out. But overall, very simple backdrop, loops seamlessly, and just gives a nice Christmas background look there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. You can download that one at motionbolt.com. The second motion background I want to take a look at today is Christmas at Night. And so this was inspired just by Peaceful Night. It's cold out here, and sometimes you look up at the stars, and it's just beautiful at this time of year. Very clear. And so I was like, well, why don't we just create a Christmas tree out of particles and then add a nice little light burst on there and then swirl some particles in the background. So over in After Effects, what I did was I created a couple layers of particles here. The first one is the background particles, which kind of swirl around in the background. Used a point there. Here's some of my settings for that. Kept the velocity at 100. Kept the life per second at 48. The key down here was I animated the Y rotation, so if we scroll all the way to the end here, I did like a 90-degree rotation of the background particles, and they just helps them to swirl around the screen a little bit. We'll go and turn that off for now. The light burst, that's simply a light I created using optical flares, and that just gets brighter and dimmer as we go. Okay, so that takes us down to the particle tree now, and this is actually really easy to create. I did particles at 75 particles per second there, left the velocity at 100. The key here was I did a point, and so it brings them all from the top and helps them spread out as they get closer to the bottom here. And then I just simply faded them off as they got closer, did a size of 5. That's pretty basic there, but creates a nice little particle tree there, which looks nice. Have a textured grunge layer in the background, so we've turned that off. It just adds a little texture to the background there. An adjustment layer, which adds a little darkness to it, and then there's my background. So when we add all that together, we get this great little backdrop here, and that's on the website, so feel free to download that. Alright, and the third background we're going to take a look at today is Golden Winter. And so this was taken by a photographer out in Colorado who sent me the image. I'm very thankful for that, which, by the way, if you guys have images that you took and you would love to see them used on a motion background, feel free to send those to me at motionbackgroundelements@gmail.com. And so let's start off with the basics here. Let's just turn off these layers now and see how this one's constructed. Here was the original image, which if we turn off the saturation, you notice that this picture was taken back in summertime. Everything's green, but basically you just drop the saturation and you do some color adjustments here to make it look like winter out there. So that darkens it up nicely. Then we add another adjustment layer, which this right here is my blur. Added a Gaussian blur, cleared out the inside here, so that way it looks really nice there. Adds a little depth of field to it. If we take that off, put it back on, that looks nice. Adds a little more interest to it and helps focus the direction. Love those trees in the background, so that was the main focus there. Trap code particular, don't need to go into this too much. This is just some particles falling down just to add some snow on there. Finally, I have this hot pink blue grade element. Now this is pretty interesting here. This is what gave it the look. So if I drag this back out here, this is what this image looked like originally. It's just this type of image here. And so if you blend that on there, adds a nice cool color, because I love the color contrast of orange color with the blue color there. The way it fades there, hot and cold colors, looks really nice. Then finally added a light burst over on the left side there to give it some, looks like a nice warm sunlight's coming in. If we look over at comp 2, I duplicated the comps, added a nice little Gaussian blur to it, and then changed the transparency to overlay, and then dropped it down to 60%. and that gave a nice look to it there. You could increase that back to 100 if you want more contrast there, which that looks nice as well, but I left it at 60%. Alright, and the last background we're going to take a look at today is Falling for Christmas. So let's see how this was made. Let's go ahead and turn off these layers now. So we started off with just a single snowflake here. This was created in Photoshop. I added a nice little gradient color, kind of like a gold to a more faded gold color there. That looks nice. So we start off with a red, deep, rich background here. Alright, so after we created that background, what I did was I added a new layer, added Trapcode Particular here, and instead of doing the normal particles, we went down and we changed particle type from sphere to sprite, and that allowed me to add in the special snowflake as our new background here, which looked pretty cool. Here's just a couple of settings. I used particles, 15 particles per second there. I did use a box format because I wanted to spread them out, and then I just have them drop slowly. I think I used gravity. Yeah, I did add gravity to it, a 6 there. Animated the world transform on the Y rotation. I think I made it probably like 90 degrees. Yeah, 90 degrees there. Then fade them out here and there, so they just kind of swirl around slowly. Then I added some white snow here, and that kind of helps fill it in and give it a little bit more Christmassy look there as well. And then the last thing we added was Video Copilot Saber, and so I added a nice little line around the outer edge just to give it a warm glow. And then finally I added a textured layer just to kind of add some texture to the background there. All in all, it turned out pretty cool, and hopefully that's something you guys will be able to use. Alright, so once again, thank you for watching this. I know I'm not going into a lot of detail on this. There's a million tutorials about how to do Trapcode Particular. I'm just showing you how I created some of the backgrounds in case you guys were interested in that. I do get questions quite often from people asking how I did certain things, so I figured just take a look at that. Alright, so check out the website, motionbolt.com, where you can find tons of Christmas motion backgrounds. You only have a couple weeks until Christmas, so if you're looking at Christmas Eve service backgrounds or YouTube channel backgrounds, music video backgrounds, now is a great time to do so. We've got lots of new stuff on there. Check those out. Alright, and finally, let's stay connected. Check us out on YouTube. Give us a subscribe or a like. Would really appreciate that. If you want to see all our social media channels, scroll down to the bottom of the website. Here you see YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest here, which I guess people still use Pinterest, so it's up to you guys. Listen, everything on here is free. You download it. You can use it for whatever you want to. The only basic rule out there is you can't take the same background and re-upload that to your YouTube channel without doing anything to it. If you had lyrics to it, it doesn't matter. You can use that however you want to. You just can't re-duplicate the content and just put it exactly straight back up there. So, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, and hope to see you soon.